And ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, depending in which time zone you currently are, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to day 2 of the DigiTrans 2022 conference in South Africa, and thank you for joining us. After a very successful day at conference yesterday, I'm pleased to inform you that we had almost 500 delegates registered for the DigiTrans 2022 conference. And whilst we can confirm that half the number of participants attended day 1, we estimate the other half will join us now in day 2. We had an average of 150 delegates in any single session. Many of your screens do not indicate those numbers that are actually in the session. And only a small number of attendees appears on your screen. This is because the small number of people have actually marked the specific sessions. So trust me when I say there are actually many more people at the conference with us than appears on your screen. So I just thought I'll give you that little bit of information while other people are logging in. Right now we have close to 60 people and they're still coming in. I know this is a early time of the day for us in South Africa, and especially for conferences. So while we wait for the others to join, and also expecting Professor Sinha to join us soon, let me just remind you about the polls that will be coming up. Please make sure that you respond. There will be some polls in the sessions that will be coming up later. And then I also encourage you to follow social media interaction. We've got Twitter on, and there's a number of hashtags that you can respond to, Facebook, as well as Instagram. And that really keeps our conversations, even with those that are not with us in conference, going. So there's a huge interest in the conference, and we hope that you are still enjoying it. Yesterday we received excellent feedback from many friends and colleagues. So thank you to all the experts who shared their knowledge and expertise with us. In fact, a common theme that came up was that whilst it was an overwhelming amount of information that was shared, there are cutting-edge topics of discussion that really needs further exploration. Wide and narrow consultation is necessary, and also adopting approaches that take our country forward is really key coming out of this conference. We also, last night, ascertained that from discussions with colleagues that there are several issues that we're still grappling with, data privacy being one of them, governance, issues of learning for earning, the recognition of all forms of learning and credentials. These are not just South African challenges, but these are global challenges. And I think as we meet at conferences like this and discuss these issues with one another, we need to keep in mind, as Dr. Boreen Chakran told us yesterday, to balance technology and human-centeredness. So these are global issues, and we have noted these points that were made, lots of wealth of information, deep insights that came through from yesterday, and that we need to ensure that we don't leave our citizens behind whilst we are still trying to keep up with rapid technology. So what do we have for you today? Our program will view similar interoperability platforms. There are 3 separate on interoperability discussions on the program. There'll be some practical examples that we can find out more about. So please post your questions as those come up. And if you like a particular question, then you can push that up as a priority by clicking on the right-hand side of your screen. I think this morning encourage you to introduce yourselves. in the chat. Let us know where you come from, which city you're based in. Please also share your interest in this conference. I will be introducing Professor Sinha shortly before we move on to before the three presentations are on the demos of the interoperability platforms. We will be joined by Nicole Copley, and she will take us through the details that James in his closeout yesterday mentioned, the launch committee and the nomination process. So Nicole will take us through that step by step. And then we will have the three demos lined up for you. One is actually an international platform and a deep dive into labor market intelligence in a session that Ms. Eduarda Cristal Branco will chair from the ETF in Europe. The second is similar platforms developed in South Africa, which Dr. James Kiwi will chair. And the third is the PSET Cloud, which Kelly Shiora will chair. And then after these sessions, we'll have a summary from James and an official closing by Sibilelo Mahobo-Nomvete from the NERSITA. So I hope you are now all settled in for another tight schedule, fairly back-to-back sessions. We tried to fit in as much as we could. And let me take this opportunity now to I'm not sure if Professor Sinha is on here, but we could wait a few minutes because we are a little bit ahead of schedule. And I think I'm over to you, Darren, while we give Professor Sinha some time to join us.